Tolerators. This is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with Natalie Katona.
And Dina Alkatib.
Just in case you're new, this is a podcast where Dina and I go over our relationships that we've had in the past with men. We give you some comic relief. We talk about how we've grown. And then at the end, we're just going to manifest a better future for us all. Today, we're going to be going on a deep dive on bosses we've had in the past and how toxic work environments affect us.
Yes, and I think we're both excited to talk about this.
I wrote in my morning pages today that this was the episode that I knew that I needed to do the most and the one that I dreaded but also yearned for the most. Like being in the place where I could be honest about the things that I've experienced as a woman in the workplace.
Yeah, I feel like it's important to talk about that because I have felt it a lot more in my current position, I feel like, dealing with gender differences and things like that in the workplace. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to talk about.
Yeah. So if I had to put on, like, my LinkedIn a sentence that described my entire career, I would say Natalie Katona has spent her entire career tiptoeing around the egos and fragility of the men around her.
Okay, first of all, you need to update your LinkedIn to say that. That would be hilarious! Oh my god.
Could you
Second of all, it's true.
Could you imagine someone from all of these job postings just being like, I wonder what this chick's about, but oh. Oh, she's been abused.
That would be amazing. I wonder what an actual recruiter would think about that.
They'd probably think, oh my god, she keeps documentation, which I do.
Yeah. Oh, you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if you don't have a folder in your office email that says, just for me, you need to go create that folder right now.
I take screenshots.
It's just so funny because I don't even know if tolerators can hear Oliver when Oliver's like, excuse me, I'm here.
He can't. They can, trust me. His toy was stuck under my chair.
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't even know what I was going to say, so let's just keep going.
It was something about documentation. It was about the folder.
Yes, I keep screenshots. Let me just deal with this.
Yeah, just take them.
These two, y'all driving me nuts.
Oh, Pivot has to get kicked out too. Man, that sucks when your brother can't deal, and so you have to go too.
Yes, because the other one will be more upset and jealous. And now I gotta wait for Mr. Oliver to calm down. But I do have a folder where I keep screenshots and texts of conversations or things that are super inappropriate in the workplace.
Yeah. I just love a receipt. I love for someone to go, why are you so sad? And for me to just present a receipt. Oh. And honestly, let's start doing it for our romantic partnerships and our friendships too. Just keeping a just for me folder for when people are like, I don't understand.
I feel like that's a journal, too.
Oh, that's
partially. Just, write in your journal about every awful interaction.
I'm sorry, is it this podcast?
Honestly, I mean, that's my problem, just sidetrack, that's my problem with journals, because I feel like I only write in them when I'm, sad or angry or need to vent or something, which I guess is kind of the point of a journal, but also, I would like to document the nice things that happen in my life, too, which I feel like I don't do, so I need to be better about that.
I used to keep a gratitude journal where I had to write down 3 things that were good about my day, and then COVID hit, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't make up, Penelope didn't die, I didn't die, it's
can't even fake it, yeah.
Right, it's not doing what it needs to be doing.
Yeah.
But yes, my career has been peppered throughout with just fragile, egotistical, and yet such broken men.
Ugh, the worst.
And we're going to dive in to a job that I would have been so successful in, and I probably would have died there because I loved the work so much. I just wish I was doing it anywhere else and with anyone else.
I have felt that before. Oh my gosh.
And then we'll dabble a little bit into my current job, which this part of the segment is going to change because there was a curveball thrown at me today. A positive curveball.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. But anyways, so at this job, it was a job that, I went to school for teaching. And when you go for school for teaching, you're usually a lifer or you eventually become the administrator. So when I left teaching to go into a completely different creative field, there was a little bit of the we all suffer from a little bit of imposter syndrome and a little bit of, I don't know if I belong here.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I just feel like instead of, and it's not anyone's job to tamper that down, but my supervisor at this dream position that I had just exasperated it.
I hate that.
And it was just at any twist of the turn, he'd come in and it would just be all hey, do you know how you've always felt like you don't actually belong here? Turns out you're right. But it was always just coded differently and a very do I go to HR about this? Do I even have any allies in this? What's happening? And it all started with first off, I forgot that the term love bomb was a thing until the How Come podcast made a post about love bombing. I think that's what this employer did to me. For the first few weeks that I was in the office, he'd come by, we'd have chats, we'd talk about our passions, the shows that we love, this, that, and the other. And I just feel looking back on it, it's oh yeah, you build me up, you make a connection. And then my brain is always oh, but he's a good guy. Oh, but he's a good, I still can't say the word bad guy. And when I talk about these things that people who were around him, they're I believe that that's true. And it's just so weird because he's not a bad guy. And I'm right, he's just broken and insecure and anxious and egotistical and all of it. And it's all projection. But to be the person who was the projection board for all of that, I called it abuse today. And it all came ahead for my first employee review. And I assumed that my employee review would be almost fantastic because I had been working hard. There had been no major hiccups. There had been no feedback that would lead me to believe that I would be blindsided during this employee review. And I knew that there would be some wears and tears, what needs to be improved because I was new to this field. There are some things that I don't have automatic recall on. And then I sat in this review with my stupid little sheet that HR made me fill out about your goals and your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of going over my little sheet. And all of a sudden he goes, I'm going to have a come to Jesus moment with you about the way you treat me.
What? And this came out of nowhere.
Nowhere.
I hate that. I hate when they don't tell you when something's wrong until a formal evaluation.
Right. And then the door's closed. It's just you and him. I'm clammy.
Yeah. Because you're nervous.
My chest is fluttering and I'm just the way I treat you. And he goes, I just really feel you're always talking about me behind my back. And I think in your mind, because you were a teacher, I'm almost like your principal. And you think that our place of work is your teacher's lounge and you should treat me like an enemy.
What? Where is this coming from? That's so out of nowhere. That's strange.
And again, I'm a sarcastic asshole. So maybe I made a joke one time about him hovering or overlooking something or whatever, and someone snitched. I don't know.
Could be.
But I'm just looking at him and I'm trying to recollect the last 3 months, 4 months of my life going, when? Because if I did it, I want to own up to it and I want to defend myself about it, but I'm so lost.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I end up crying.
Oh, I would have been the same way.
And then I end up just like feeding him like, no, you're the best boss I've ever had. And I got to leave teaching and I hated teaching. And I've always wanted to work in a place like this. And I'm crying and I'm begging him to like me again and just like tell me what I could do to make it better. And I'm like, and I don't know, I'll just stop talking to people and everything. And it honestly changed the way that I did my work, because I just wanted to be unassuming. I didn't want to have a lot of attention drawn on to me because I didn't want it to get back to him that I had talked to someone or laughed with someone or I wasn't working very hard or anything like that. And my department, during our department meetings, like we had this culture of like razzing one another and making jokes at one another's expense. And I fell into it because it's the exact sarcastic humor that my family uses to laugh at one another until someone's hurt. So I'm like, oh, you got jokes? I've got jokes. Ba-da-da-da-da. But then I realized that it was okay for the experienced people in my department to do, but I was the outsider and I wasn't allowed to make fun of them because what did I know? So I completely changed the dynamic with my department. I came with like typed out agendas. I would just wait out their laughter and sit in the coffee shop and go, okay, so about next Thursday, is this set up? Do we have this going? Do we have this going? Let them be mean to one another for a little bit longer. Wait it out. I was miserable.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it kind of gets better because I love nothing more than to convince myself that something's okay. And it's okay that he leaves at 2:00 and I'm at 5 juggling all of the programs and the phone calls and all of that. It's okay that anytime we're having a bad event or a bad turnout or something, that's made to be like, felt like, well, why didn't you try harder? Who weren't you calling? This, that, and the other. And all I can keep telling myself is, you're just new. It's your first year, this, that, and the other. And then summer happens. So we've gone through all of fall, winter, and spring.
Yeah.
And I get a call from a parent, and it is for a student who is going to be new to one of our programs. And we catered out for this program for lunch. And I walked this parent through all of the options. I asked about dietary restrictions, whatever. And I filled out the lunch form with a parent for this student. The student gets to camp and the student is unhappy about the lunch choices. So then the mom calls. And now all of a sudden there are dietary restrictions. So I walk her through my menu options that reflect the dietary restrictions, but she's still not happy. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm kind of like, my hands are kind of tied. This is our catering company. This is what we do. Like,
yeah, I mean, what can you do at that point?
Also, I've lived a year in a place where I don't get to make decisions. I sit through meetings and I'm not heard. I'm an imposter here. I have, in my brain, in my heart, I have no power or control to actually fix this. And in my head, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, we had options for them.
Right.
The mother calls my boss screaming. And then I get a surprise office visit, and he doesn't even give me the benefit of the doubt to ask me, what did you try? It's, I don't know why anyone would ever call me. Isn't it your job to make sure that no one calls me? Why would someone ever get on the phone to complain to me about you not doing what you need to do?
Wow.
And again, it's one of those one-on-one, door closed, all of it. Just really gross conversations. And I'm sitting there and I was like, would you like me to walk you through what I did? And he tells me no.
What?
And he goes, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you did. It wasn't enough. because if it was enough, those people would be happy. And then all of a sudden, he has all of this context that I didn't have, that the parent didn't tell me the correct dietary restrictions, that this kid is from out of town, that their parents can't, or like the parents or the grandparents that the kid's staying with, they can't afford supplemental snacks. So if the kid's hungry, that's on us. If the kid's miserable, that's on us. And I was like, and then like, you're trying to just be like, well, at no point was that communicated to me. And then he uses his dietary restrictions to make me feel bad. And like, I just thought that you would care about this more because you know that this is something that also affects me.
Why did he make it about himself? And why wasn't he willing as your supervisor to hear you out and just assume that you did something wrong? Like, you can't, in customer service, you cannot make everybody happy. Some people will always be unhappy. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is.
So then, like, she gets some super special lunch plan or whatever that involves my intern making a trip to another location to hand make her lunch. Which, when I explain this to my mother, here's Hot Mom again. When I explain this to my mother, because it's another day that I'm crying.
Right.
And I go, here's the thing. Why would I have computed that that was even an option?
Right.
For me to have another employee go to a second location and handcraft a lunch every day. It's summer camp.
That's crazy.
And my mom's like, well, that's ridiculous. And that's what's wrong with these kids. And, you know, she boomers out, which was great in the moment. And, like, I forgot to tell you that for the first employee review thing, after I cried, and once I start crying, like, I'm just crying, I had to go to our office Christmas party.
And everybody knows you've been crying and you're upset, and it's just annoying.
Everyone knows I'm quiet because I'm never quiet. However, it was the best thing that could have happened to me being upset at that Christmas party, because I started hanging out with people in other departments, and those are people that I'm still friends with and care about.
Oh, that's great.
So
one little nice outcome.
But then after summer camp, again, there's a shift in my attitude about this whole career, and I start to withdraw further. And withdrawing further means I'm not socializing with anybody. I eat lunch by myself. I'm either in the spooky haunted basement if it's cold, or I'm at the park if it's hot. I'm packing lunches to make sure that I can eat by myself. Like, I talk to maybe 3 people a day. I'm trying really hard to just make myself invisible. Mm. And then I take a training and I decide that I don't want to be invisible anymore, and I don't want to be miserable at the job that I enjoy. So I try to talk to him about it, and he says, yeah, I was really thinking about getting HR involved so we could start documenting about how it's not working out. So he sees me struggling. He sees me further withdraw. He sees me not being able to juggle all of this imposter syndrome and anxiety and this gaslighting and manipulation. And his thing is, better start writing notes so we can get rid of her.
Wow, that is so messed up. He's an awful boss.
And he would use the word mentor. Like, you have to remember, you have a teaching background. I was a teacher. I'm a mentor. I don't know why you don't come to me when you're this upset and like this.
Well, because every time you do, he fucking makes you feel like shit.
But I played the game, and this is what I ended up doing. I ended up saying to play to his ego, because now I'm on to fragile men and their egos and their anxieties and their self-hatred. I said, what if we start having one-on-one mentor sessions, and you can start crafting me into the employee that you want?
Oh, like give him the power that he's been looking for.
And we can start, and we'll come up with projects, and we'll get me back in. Because again, I want to die at this job. And for the most part, I love and enjoy the majority of the people that I'm working with. And for the most part, I'm not even telling the people that I work with, except for one person, that this is even happening.
Right.
We have 3 mentor sessions before he drops off of wanting to do them.
What was his reasoning?
I mean, they just fell away.
He just, okay.
We're just so busy.
Of
Which
course.
I kind of knew what would happen, and it kind of pushed him back off of my back. Again, give him a little nibble. Like, I need you, I want you. Turn me into what you want.
Hate it.
All the while, you're knowing, and like, I finally got defiant about it. I was like, I am fucking doing a good job. If you ask anyone in this place, hey, who does really great work here? They're all pointing towards my office. If you ask anyone, hey, who's someone here that you have a really positive and relationship with? Again, pointing towards my office.
I almost wonder if he was jealous of that.
My counselor has made assumptions that he may have been a little threatened, but we'll never know.
Sounds like it. He's behaving as if he's threatened.
Mm-hmm. Because, I don't know. It was just so sick. And then, for an entire pandemic, it's the only place I wanted to be in the entire world. And I don't want to be at my current job, forever or until tomorrow. But if I thought that my only option was to go back to the place that I loved working at the most, and I called my place, and I called every patron my patron, and made such lovely connections with people, I wouldn't do it because I don't want to work for him again.
Right.
And I think that managers and bosses are just allowed to get away with all of these gross ways that they keep us small, and that they keep us compliant, and they keep us from outshining them, and I'm fucking tired of it.
Yup.
And so then there's my current workplace, and Tolerators Dina knows this, but last week in my office group chat, and maybe you know this if you follow me on TikTok, I was being abused and gaslit into not believing my own reality, so I dropped into our office group chat the medical definition of gaslighting. And that was my response. It was after I said, I refuse to listen to this or do this anymore. And when they kept pushing me, I just dropped the definition.
What was the reaction again?
No one said anything for a while. And then I was tried to be told again that the experience that I experienced did not happen. So I said, if today I need to be a liar for the crazy makers to feel strong, I will be a liar. But please know, I will not be having one-on-one conversations with anyone anymore. And I request one of my female coworkers with me. And then I said, and if that cannot be arranged and I will be forced to be in the office where this happens, I will just work from home. Because office culture is terrible, and that's how all of these closed door, gross, I never did that conversations happen.
That's true. I'd agree with that.
So I am in a very dysfunctional and disorganized role. And there's not a lot of responsibility taken by the male superiors around me for the dysfunctional and disorganization of what's going on. And then, you throw in, all of this. Let me tell you what I'm sick of capitalism. I'm tired of being told that we're all one big happy family when we're literally all miserable and dying on the inside. So don't tell me that I'm doing the best out of anyone else at this job. We're sacrificing ourselves for the good of it all. Don't you fucking tell me it's all for the kids. Don't give me a sports metaphor or any military lingo. Fucking give me results. Get me fucking processes that work. At my new place of work, directives and standards change every day. And everyone just pretends that that's how it always was. It's like every day is that movie 50 First Dates.
Ugh. That sounds fucking miserable.
There's no support. I'm screamed at a lot. No one else wants to be screamed at. So they just forward me their happy people, their angry people. And then when you reach out to other people to go hey, I noticed that this wasn't done. Could you do this so I can do the next step? You get a lot of, well, if you were going to tell me about it, you could have done it.
Oh my God. This screams unhappy people.
Right. So I've been I've just started going, that's gaslighting. That's manipulation. I've been in too much therapy for that. If that's how you're going to talk to me, you guys really need to actually start covering my therapy. But today, all of a sudden, and I don't know if it was my direct supervisor's 91st day, so he went, fuck it, it'll be really hard for them to fire me now. But he fucking showed up like a motherfucking Avenger to this weird-ass meeting we had today. And I went and got snacks because I was like, what the fuck is going on? And all of a sudden, he said that me and the counterpart that do my job can't do our jobs and are getting the brunt of everyone else's mistakes. And then he started listing those mistakes. And I'm in our team group chat going, hey, if you were gonna make us assemble, like, let a bitch know. I would have, like, put on a costume.
You would have brought your shield or something.
Also, like, he was also wearing this, like, power outfit. It was, like, it was a really fitted, like, black t-shirt. I was like, hey, that black t-shirt looks sharp. And then he just started telling everybody who their daddy was. And I was like, sir, if you wanted us to assemble, I would have bought a wig. Like,
it's like that TikTok sound. Daddy? Sorry. Daddy? Sorry.
Daddy? And all of a sudden, like, I asked him, I was like, did you take a seminar yesterday? I was like, where did all this assertive language come from? And he's just telling them, he's like, we don't communicate effectively. We need to get this communication out. It will not be on my team to get the backlash of all of this. What is happening?
Right.
And I'm just like, who the fuck are you? And I'm also just like hyping them up.
Like, yeah, let's go.
I was like, what are you doing?
This is amazing.
And then he starts bringing in his own receipts. Because people are arguing with him, and he's like, I sent you that email. She sent you that email in March. She's made 5 requests. And I'm like, what the actual hell? Damn. I didn't know you were doing anything with the things that I was sarcastically copying you on.
I hope this, like, is permanent, and not just, like, a one-off.
Because let me tell you, that's something I can rock and roll with every day. Like, my direct supervisor makes fun of me all the time because I'm always complaining about Big Daddy capitalism. And I'm like, if I'm mad at Big Daddy capitalism, I'm not mad at you. So you're going to want me to be distracted.
That's true. True.
So, number one. But yeah, if we're actually going to start pushing back, because I kind of knew he had it in him. I kind of knew because I would see these little pockets and I would keep telling him, I'm like, they don't listen to you either. Like, I was like Loki in his ear.
You were like in his ear, like whispering, like the villain. I love that.
I was like, they don't listen to you either. He told us to stop throwing shade at his boss in the group chat. And I was like, your boss loves to take advantage of you and your kind heart. They don't listen to you. I was like, one time they did right in front of all of us, put something back on him. And I was like, you did a really great job letting them project that onto you. You held your face together.
Damn.
So I knew he had it in him. And I guess I was just waiting for, I don't know, maybe his health insurance cleared today.
Something, man.
Something happened. But I was like, who the hell are you? And this can give me hope. And I'm going to give it up to that TikTok affirmation. I don't chase, I attract. What is meant for me will simply find me, because fuck.
It found you today.
I needed a motherfucking hero, and I almost just started singing the song or like singing the lyrics.
That song.
Like, do, 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 do. Like, could you imagine?
Oh, I need to write this down to listen to this song after this. Hold on.
Could you imagine that, like, he's just fucking telling everybody who their daddy is, and and all of a sudden I just unmute, and I'm like, do, 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 ah, and, like, people are like, no, we don't need that hype, and I'm like, no, we're gonna do the song.
Oh my god, I love that.
I was like, where the fuck did you come from? Where the fuck did you come from? Because I love a redemption story arc.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, I was like, ooh. I was like, it was just one too much, and now you telling everybody who their daddy is. And I was like, I'm really proud of you for waiting months. I did that on week 2. On week 2, I had my first, I'm going to tell you who your mama is meltdown.
What was what's that saying? Like, it's about the, it's not about the way you get there, it's like.
It's about the journey.
Yes! He got there!
He got there! And we're proud of him.
Yeah!
We're proud of him. Every once in a while, he still falls into dumb behaviors, and I'm like, every once in a while, he'll tell me to smile on these Zoom cameras, and I'm like, sir.
He's still a man.
I was like, the year is fucking 2021. We have canceled telling women to smile. And if you insist that my face be on this camera, you get in all my facial expressions for the dumb shit that will be said during this meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. So that's my saga. I keep saying this like every day. I am the elves at the end of the 2 towers. I grow weary of the world of men, and I would like to go on that boat to the pretty land.
To the west.
I would like to go to the west. I do not want to give over my eternity necklace to no man, because they don't deserve it. I am weary of the world of men. I would like to get into that boat, please.
Yes. Let me ask you this. Do you think it would be different if you were a man?
Oh, 100%, because the men that I currently work for do not listen to me or the other women on my team, and we problem solve. So.
Oh, the worst.
So, yeah. Also, I think the original guy that I was talking about, my first story with all of the toxic little reviews that I didn't ask for, I feel like if I were a man, he would be more intimidated by me, so he knew he couldn't talk to me that way. But I tell you, man-on-man loyalty, especially in capitalism, is fucking something it boggles my fucking brain, because you'll watch things not be done successfully. But because your bro did it, you're not going to say anything.
I hate that. It's like that locker room bullshit. Like, doesn't matter what your bro did. He's still your bro. Bros before hoes.
No one's making gains. No one's making goals. No one's making fucking anything. But because your penis is looking at another penis, it's fine.
Which is kind of strange if you think about it.
Right. And I'm like, and it's because TikTok says it all the time. Men don't actually love women. They love other men. But they want to, like, fuck us and abuse us. It's fine.
Yep.
It's fine. Which is like, and that's like something from ancient Greece. I'm not going to remember the actual history of it, but I do know that the Greeks have multiple words for the word love. I don't remember any of them. There was like romantic love. There was like friendship love. There was like the only truest love could be man on man love. Like, there is nothing like capitalistic man love where you're just sitting in a meeting and they're all just like circle jerking one another about how nothing is happening, but they all think something's going to be happening, and they all think they're doing a real great job.
The amount of times all the male, like, executives just sit around and talk about their golf game together and laugh about it is, like, kills me. Kills me. In the middle of meetings. In the middle. Ridiculous.
I can't. I grow weary of the world of men. Put me on the little elf boat. With Gandalf. Right. I just want to be with Gandalf the White. Oh my God. You need to listen to the Newcomers podcast with Nicole Byer and Lauren Lapkus.
Oh, I've listened to it. I love it.
Did you listen to the Lord of the Rings one?
I did. I listened. Yes, I did. And
Nicole's
I listened to the Star Wars
horny for Gandalf the White. And I'll be listening to it and I'll listen to Nicole be like, I'm horny for Gandalf the White. And I'm like, am I horny for Gandalf the White?
I'm just horny for Ian McKellen. I feel like he's so wholesome.
Right. It's right. It's filling a different hole. It's filling that hole that was never nurtured by
Yes, like, you know, he would give you a great hug.
Right. Yes, that's what it is.
You just want to be held by him.
Right. It's just that, like, that hole inside of myself that never had their hair stroked nicely by a man.
Yeah.
What's work life like you in the world of men?
Oh, God. All right. Well, we all know who I'm gonna talk about, and it's gonna be Raymond. And we've talked about Raymond multiple times because, honestly, we love giving shit to Raymond.
We love tolerating Raymond.
He's so just nice to pick on. He's just a great target.
Did you pre-sub him for this episode, or are we raw dogging Raymond?
Oh, we're raw dogging him.
Yeah!
So he is, in my current job, my direct supervisor, boss, whatever you want to call it. And Ray is an engineer. That was what his degree was in, and he no longer does engineering. He works in a different field. But if you have ever met an engineer, you know that their brains just work in spreadsheets and logic and numbers, and that's it.
Right.
And on one hand, that makes him a really, really smart person, and he has amazing ideas, and he's an asset to the team and to the company. Like, he's 100% shown his worth just on his own. He's incredibly smart, and I would never say any otherwise.
All right. We all know that Ray's got a brain.
He does.
And a degree. Men love their degrees.
It's true.
Men love the fancy pieces of paper.
They sure do. It's hanging up in his office, as well as all his lovely NASA stuff when he worked.
Oh, men love. Oh, you know that, bitches? We should start Bastards. Bastards love space.
Oh my gosh, he loves space so much, and I'm like, I swear, always
Ray
talking about
Bastards.
He is. So the other side of the coin is that he's really, really bad at managing people and communicating and like empathizing, which as like smarts can get you so far when it comes to being a manager, but you're also, the point of being a manager is dealing with people, and people are complex creatures. They're all different. They all have personal lives. They all have things going on that no matter what, as much as you can try and leave it at the door, there's always going to be some times when it creeps into your work. Like, it's just human nature. So his biggest flaw, I think, in the workplace is that he doesn't understand how his words can affect other people, especially when you're in a power role. When you are a supervisor to people, your words mean, no matter what you think, mean more than our words. It's just the way that it is, and that's the way that people see it. So, you know, the last time that me and Ray duked it out, and I will say we've gotten better at communicating with one another and understanding each other's styles. But the last time this happened, he didn't like the way that I did something. So basically, I was writing an email, and after I sent the email to people, he sent me a message, and he was like, "Wow, you really like shot that email off," like insinuating that I put no thought into my email, which, just for the record, my brain processes things really, really fast. So I type really fast. I multitask really fast. I get things done really fast, which is part of the reason why I'm a good worker.
It's called neurodivergence, bitches.
Exactly. So, like, he assumed that because the email didn't take me long to generate,
that because you didn't have to ruminate and be anxious and insecure and like read it 18 times. You just got it.
Right, I just did the thing, right? I just did it. But he took that as, I didn't care, I just shot it off and whatever, and I was like, excuse me? Like, and then he proceeded to tell me how he would have liked me to have done the email in this particular way, with all this new information that I had no idea about. I did not know any of these expectations that he had.
I love that game. I love here's the context I expected you to read in my brain for you to do things the exact way that I wanted you to do them, so no one can tell me that my team isn't doing well, because it's all about me.
Yes. And so
Love you, Ray.
he and honestly, Ray knows for a fact that, like, had I known any of these expectations he had for what he had in his mind, I would have fulfilled every single one of them, because that's the way I am. And so I obviously got defensive because he was coming at me. Mm-hmm. And it basically ended in me crying, because when I'm frustrated, I cry.
That adrenaline.
Yeah, I just get, I mean, I'm an Aries. I get very ramped up very quickly. Mm-hmm. Like, so he told me to be better. He was like, so be better than me. And I was like, well, then, because I told him, next time, then just do it yourself. If you know exactly what you want, then just do it yourself. And he was like, I want you to be better than me. So do better, like, is what he said. And I was like, oh, I was so mad, because I'm like, why would you ever? I would never say that to somebody, like, to be better. Like, that's just mean. There's a different ways to handle things and to communicate. And it's just the way he honestly thought he was joking. And I was like, this is not a time or place to be joking about this. Like, I'm upset, clearly. Yeah, this is not cute at all.
Because I do feel like they try to be cute and joking, because it's happening at my current position now, where some of these, like, drive-by one-on-one sessions is just like, come on, blah, 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 we're buddies. Why would you even make me go through this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's not cute. That's emotionally guilting me into still not doing your unspoken expectation.
Yeah. I hate the unspoken thing. Like, mm-hmm. I like to know what is needed. And of course, I come up with my own ideas and things that I can improve and things like that. But, like, if you have an expectation, I should know about it. Or you can't hold me to those expectations that I don't know about. That's it. So, yeah, he's just got some issues with empathizing, and when people have, like, personal things going on in their lives, he doesn't take that into consideration when he's interacting with them. And realistically, for me and most of the people I know, our jobs aren't our number one priority in life. We would all rather be chilling on vacation. Like, if we didn't have to work, maybe we would still work, but, like, not as much, and not doing any of the shit that we're doing right now, probably.
I used to think that I would still work if I just got a pit full of money. And then I'm like, well, that's fucking stupid.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, if I was going to still work, I think I would make my own business.
Yeah. And that's, like, how manipulative and gaslighty capitalism is, that even if we thought we could take ourselves out of work, it'd be like, but what would we do? We'd rest and we'd be okay.
Well, we were put on this earth to, like, eat and walk and explore, and that's it. And I'm like, why did we put anything else on our plates? That's all we should be doing.
Built all of this fucking chaos around us, and then we're like, oh my gosh, but, like, how's your 401k doing? It's a myth. That's how it's doing.
Literally, it's all fake. It's all fake. So, the other aspect of the team that I work on is that we're 50% women.
There we go.
And 50% men.
Oh, God.
So, Ray, another aspect of Ray that I love is that he's an amazing father. Mm-hmm. And he's probably the best example of a good dad that I have ever known in my life. And I have really, really bad examples of like, dad figures in my life.
Right.
And so Ray's, like, the ideal in my mind. But he has a lot of kids. All of his kids are girls.
Yeah.
So notice that he's a bit more patient and nice with the women than with the males, which is actually different than what you're talking about, Natalie, where the guys stay on the guy's, like, side.
Yeah.
He treats us like we're literally fragile people. Like, and it's annoying, right? Because we want to be treated as equals.
Treated like a human.
Right. And so, like, if we do something wrong, if we have a fuck up or something, the women, he's a little more understanding, and we've seen him be really, really harsh with the males on the team, like, and we're to the point where we're like, like, you've never been like that for our fuck ups. You're usually like, it's okay, it's not a big deal, like, it's cool. But if somebody else fucks up, a dude, he's like on him, and I'm like, whoa. And at first I was like, it's not a big deal, right? Because I'm not getting the heat of it. Like, he's not coming at me. But at the same time, I started realizing that it leads into other things where, like, I'm a person that I'm very either hot or cold. So, like, if I wake up and I'm well rested, my hormones are in check, like, I'm having a good day, then I'm probably going to be more social, more outgoing at work, like, just seem more chipper. But if I wake up, I haven't slept well, I'm very fatigued from hormones and, like, all this stuff, I may come into work and just be, like, meh. Like, not talkative, not super, like, not necessarily upset, but I'm just like, I'm here to get my job done, to do the thing, and get home. Like, that's it. And so it felt like anytime I came into work not happy, not smiling, not overwhelmingly chipper, he would not leave it alone. He would, like, be like, why are you upset? Why are you sad? He would push me and push me and push me. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then I would get upset because he's pushing me.
And I'm like, emotional consent was pushed. Like, it is not my job to be the hostess of the workplace. I am here to do my work. You can talk to me if I'm not doing my work, but if I'm not smiling while I'm not doing my work, then kindly fuck off.
Exactly. It's like, if a man were sitting here, and I know men in the office that do this who, you know, kind of seem a little, like, maybe upset or just, like, not in the mood to talk to people, they say to themselves, nothing is said.
Oh, absolutely men never have to be charming.
No, never. And I was like, why am I and the other problem is that I do have resting bitch face. Like, if I'm not happy, if I'm just, like, normal, I look angry. But I'm not angry, I'm just trying to exist in this mediocre day, and there's nothing wrong with it being mediocre. It just is
hellfire of an existence.
Yeah, and it makes me, and it honestly felt like in those moments when that happened with him that he was talking to one of his kids.
Yeah.
One of his girls, and he was trying to make me feel better or try and figure out what's going on or whatever, but, like, honestly, I don't like airing out everything if I can avoid it. Like, I tend to keep to myself. I don't try and share everything with people. And, like,
and again, I'm just trying to survive.
Exactly. Like, I just don't have to, I hate that it felt like I was expected to be in a certain mood. And if I wasn't, then it was wrong. And I was like, that literally, I've never seen that happen to the men in the office. Oh. And it's so frustrating. It's not fair.
To smile on camera.
Oh,
and I
my
think
God.
That's the difference. When we're feeling stressed or anxious or depressed or any of it, we're still expected to perform and, like, put on our Disney princess voice and, like, wave to the children as they walk by the window or whatever. And it's like, men get the luxury to just be unhappy or mediocre or plain or just sitting there.
Right. Exactly. There was a guy in the office. He doesn't work there anymore, but I literally forgot he existed. I was like, oh my God, he doesn't get up and socialize with people. He doesn't talk to people. He sits in his office and I assume does his job. And I was like, imagine if I was allowed to do that. To just sit and do my job and with no expectations of, like, how my emotions should be.
To not be the person who plans the carry-in so everyone gets to have a brownie. I was told at this current job, maybe you should plan the carry-in. Won't it be nice for you to have something to focus on that isn't just the stress?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No. I hate that.
I just... and, like, I hate being in an office so much, and I took that year of unemployment and I've lost all patience and all logic behind why people get to act the way that they do in the name of money or numbers or benefits or any of it.
Because you're putting yourself first before a job that literally would fire you in a day and find a replacement. Literally, nothing should be more important than your well-being. Ever.
Nothing. And
nothing.
Honestly, one day for this job, and maybe it is all of the trauma that I'm starting to reprocess from my job that I loved with people that could have been better. One day, my work from home job was like, I'm saying that like I just logged onto my computer and it was like, we actually need you on campus because no one came to campus. And then he's stressed, so I'm stressed. And I was like, I guess I can get dressed, but I'm not going to get there until 10. And I just felt myself going through the like, oh, here come your anxiety symptoms. Are we going to have a heart attack or are we going to cry? And I just sat down and I texted back into our group chat, I can't get behind the wheel of my car right now. I won't get behind the wheel of my car feeling the way that I do. And do you know how many times I have gotten behind the wheel of my car, panicking, throwing up, having the flu? No more.
Because we're terrified of we're at the capitalism. We're all fucking struggling and poor, and we are being held to
that we hate. Because
we need money.
To the point where like 3 years ago, before we all went down into a pandemic and realized that the fucking jig is up and everything that we do is just make believe and smoke and mirrors. Do you think 3 years ago I would have sat on a mic and been like, I hate my job. My boss could be better. I think I'm abused. No, because all you can think about is if I tell this man that he's abusing me or gaslighting me or making me uncomfortable or anything, there goes my job. There goes my house. I can't feed my cat. I'm not moving in with my dad. Like, what if I get cancer and now I'm out of benefits? But then I did it for a year.
Right.
Like when I thought of unemployment as a younger person who had never been unemployed for a long stretch of time, I literally thought it was a fate worse than death. Because everything that I held dear to me would be ripped away from me. And then I had to do it for a fucking year and I survived it. And then they threw me back in capitalism and I went, but this is all fake. And my body just keeps raging against it.
And honestly, like for me, it's so hard because I actually really love my job, the job portion of my job. I just wish that everybody put themselves like cared more about the people than they did the job, because the people are what matter, and it hurts when we kill ourselves for just money. My
boss's boss will come to meetings and be like, I'm supposed to be with my family right now at a reunion, but I put myself in a room so I could be here because that's how important that is. And finally, like I texted one of the girls that I work with when he did it for like a death in his family or whatever. And I go, all I'm hearing is that when I miss a meeting because one of my relatives drops dead, he's going to wonder why I didn't phone in from the church.
Yeah. No.
And
happening.
Fuck that.
Yeah. I used to be one of those people that was like, my job is everything, which because I am like very career oriented and stuff, but like now I think I've changed a little because I know how much my mental health and taking care of myself, like I would not have survived if I stayed on that course. Like if I cared more about my job and doing a good job more than myself and my well-being and my life outside of work, then I don't think I would have survived at all. I think I would have had a mental breakdown and probably gotten, ruined my career at that point.
There was another great quote from TikTok. What's your dream job? I don't dream about work.
Yeah, exactly. So I did have one more thing I'm going to talk about it quickly. So Natalie and I thought it would be good for me to talk about me being a boss or manager, because this is new for me. I've, at least in this role, I've done it, I've been a manager before, obviously in previous roles, but, in the last year, I've got a new position as the manager of my team, which Ray is like now kind of, I've taken his sort of job and he's moved on to something else, but he's still all of our bosses, if that makes sense. So the problem with that is a few things, is that everyone on my team that I manage is my friend and was my friend prior to me being a manager. And I also work in a predominantly male-dominated field with a lot of military people, just as employees and also in leadership. And so when I first moved into the leadership role, it was so hard. It felt like no one was taking my new role seriously because, one, I'm a woman. Yeah. Two, I work with friends, so they had to adjust. And I don't know if they fully adjusted, it feels like still sometimes.
Right.
I feel like because I'm young and a woman, I'm seen as competition sometimes to others. And the military men in my field didn't take me seriously or even took the time to understand my new role when it was announced. They just kept treating me like my previous job, basically. And many people would bypass me to go to Ray. Whether that was because it honestly felt like they trusted Ray more than me.
Right.
And it's hard to look at that, and even though I've done really good work and there's been no reason for them not to trust me, it felt like it was because of my gender. And even now, it's now been almost a year, I still have Ray forwarding emails that should go to me and that have nothing to do with him, that he's forwarding them to me because the executives don't send it to me. And it's so frustrating.
I can't stand it because
it's awful.
We work so hard.
Yes.
To get these make-believe titles, to get power, to get a little bit more money or whatever. And then the real mental game comes because at every twist and turn, they're going to remind you that you don't belong.
Yep. And even within my team, even though these are my friends, they would go to Ray instead of me for advice, for help. Not because I'm less smart or less capable or bad at my job, but part of it was because he hired them, and so they naturally saw him as a leader and their boss. But also because I felt like I wasn't respected sometimes, but my role wasn't respected. And that sucks because Ray never had to deal with that. Ray came in and he was immediately all that and a bag of chips and seen as a leader. Now, it's definitely gotten better, and I've had to have conversations with Ray and with, the team, and I think I did pretty well at having those conversations, you need to come to me, not like that, sure. But rather hey, I want you to be able to rely on me. I'm here to be your buffer. I'm your manager. You guys are what matter to me, all that, whatever.
Right.
But I felt like I had to work twice as hard to solidify my leadership role within my team and within the company. And sometimes it requires me to be more stern or more blunt so that people take me seriously, which sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But just so that they can see me as an equal to my male counterparts.
Right.
And it sucks because in my previous managerial or leadership roles, it's never felt this difficult. I was merely, my skills were seen, and I was put into a leadership role and promoted, and I was able to thrive in those positions. But now it feels like I have to work to prove that I'm able to do it. And I'm why would they have promoted me if they thought I couldn't do it? So it's just really frustrating. I've never had to deal with that, so it's been difficult, but I feel like it's getting better. So.
And I think there's so many components to it, because I think especially with your team, Ray kind of gets to be everyone's friend too. I've been to social events with Ray,
Yeah.
Like, Ray gets to be everyone's friend, too. So you want to be all like, oh, well, it's just really awkward for my friends to believe me as a boss or whatever.
Right.
But they've always been able to do it with Ray.
Right.
And
exactly.
And Ray's always been around. I know Ray. I know Ray's kids. Like, so it's just like, and I would love to get to see women lead with gentleness and empathy and caring and grace and all of that divine feminine energy. But when we do, like, you got to be a dominatrix in the office because, like, no one's going to step up to it.
I guess sometimes even when you are, pretty stern or whatever in the office, you're seen as a bitch.
Right. And then you're the shrew bitch,
she's in a bad mood. Like, she's just moody. She's
so moody. Someone can throw her a tampon.
Yeah. And I'm like, literally, I'm just fighting to be heard. That's it.
Yeah.
And to be taken seriously. So, all right.
All right. Are you ready for takeaways and manifestations?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. I have a few.
Okay.
My biggest takeaway is that we as a society who have invited women to the workforce, and it's still fairly new that women even got to leave the home to work or drive or vote or any of it. We still have a long way to go because I can't imagine that I'm the only woman who has spent her career and watched opportunities pass her by and not get to do things because some man was threatened and you spent most of your energy tiptoeing and babysitting his fragile ego while doing all of the invisible work to make them look good, but then weren't ever listened to or asked for feedback on how things could do better. However, now, and even back then at the dream job, that when these behaviors would happen, I could always walk forward recognizing that it is out of their own insecurities and has nothing to do with my actual work or who I am as a person. But, there were things that I missed out on, or there were things that I didn't grow or learn or anything because it was all just a minefield. So if you are a supervisor of staff, please remember that your anxiety and ego has to take second to the actual work because we're all there to work and we all want to do that work. People can't feel supported or feel like they can be successful if they have to constantly consider if your feelings are going to be hurt or if you're going to be threatened or if is this your anxiety trigger today? And for my manifestation, I truly want for my future to just leave the world of a 9-to-5 corporate or capitalism job completely. I want to be gone. I want more control back on my schedule. I want to have this podcast or any of my other talents allow me the privilege to be working for myself and myself only. And then I hope that the new changes I'm making, both lifestyle and as of this week medically, will start to cut back on the physical symptoms I'm having because I am so aware of the abuse that I am forced to operate under.
So for my takeaways, manifestations, I'm going to start with Ray. Ray is incredibly smart, and I look up to, you know what, I'm going to say it to him. Ray, I think you're incredibly smart, and I look up to you as an intellectual, but I think that emotional intelligence is just as important, if not more important, than smarts. And I think if you, Ray, worked on both, you would be a powerhouse in every way. And I hope that all men learn to empathize and realize that emotions are not negative and actually make you a better person. And that they all strive to see their coworkers, women coworkers, as equals, and don't treat them differently or less than. And like Natalie said, leave your egos at the door.
I know you can do it, Ray, because I see you do it with your children. You don't talk to your children like they robots.
Yes. And my manifestation is that I continue to grow and be confident in my skills in the workplace and never question my skills because of other people or a man. And even though these people may not take me seriously as a woman, it does not reflect on my performance or anything in the workplace. And to not change or mask myself because of other people's expectations of who I should be. So.
I also would like to add the bonus manifestation that I would like capitalism to go the fuck away.
Yes, we're over it.
We're over it. And you know what? If capitalism goes the fuck away, so do all of the bad men who are managing us.
Yes, down with the bad men.
And honestly, if any of the men listen to this episode and they realize that I'm talking about you were my boss, you were the person who abused me, you were the person who kept me from growing, I hope it's a wake-up call. Because I know you're leading staff right now. So I hope that you're treating those staff better and you are actually fostering an environment that you loved to talk about, but didn't actually put into place. All right. So make sure to like and subscribe because who knows who will talk shit on next. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. Maybe you. Maybe. Then leave us a 5-star review and a comment about what you're enjoying, what you learned, and we'll start highlighting those great reviews. Our Instagram is at Men I've Tolerated Pod. My Instagram is at NatalieK124, as is the TikTok, where we operate a lot of the marketing for the podcast. Don't forget that if you tag us in your story while you're listening, I'm going to give you a manifestation on our story. And then I do art shit, and that art blog is still sitting at natalie'sinspiration.com. And people keep clicking on it for whatever reason now. I haven't written on it for a while, but every day I get a notification on my phone like, you got a new visitor to this blog. Ooh. And I'm like, that's weird.
What? That's straight. Who are you? Why are you here?
Hopefully you're listening to the podcast. Yeah. And then email us questions about your relationships or your toxic work environments or anything that you need hyped about at menI'veToleratedBefore@gmail.com. We'd love to start doing listener episodes and doing advice corner.
And you can follow me on Instagram at ms.caboose. I'll have links to all my social media as well as my Twitch, where sometimes I play video games. So check me out.
All right. And remember, tolerators, you don't have to smile through anything that you're tolerating, including an insecure man who's throwing a tantrum because you dare to show up to work and be successful that day.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck that, fuck capitalism, and fuck the 9 to 5. Eat the rich. Please remember that even though I dress very bougie and have a lot of glitter on me, I too am a poor and will happily be on the correct side of the class war.
All right, see y'all.
Bye, everybody.